Deb Littlefield. Deb Littlefield is the mother of 2 daughters she raised in Methuen. Her youngest is now in vet school, and her oldest just promoted her to grandma status. She moved to the Cape a few years ago and has spent her career working in leadership development and executive coaching. She is intent on using these superpowers for a nefarious purpose, being committed to becoming her grandson's favorite person. Not through quiet dignity, but through superior snacks and calculated bribery. She calls this her payback era.
So my mother called. She said, "Your father has died. Come home." So I headed to Logan and caught the first flight available back to small-town Iowa and my childhood home to bury my father. Now, my parents had been married for 54 years, and my father had been a teacher and coach for 40 of those, a middle school math teacher and a high school wrestling coach. And he had 2 mantras to give you a feel for him. As a teacher, he would say, "You never throw a kid away. You give them a second chance, you give them a third. You don't know what they're going through. You never throw them away." As a coach, he would look at the kids who hadn't really found their people or their place, and he was worried they might fall through the cracks. And he would say, "I don't know if that kid can help our team, but our team can help that kid." That was my father. So my mother said, "I want this to be a celebration of life." And I thought, what? We are broken. How can we do that? I did not say that. I said, "Okay, Mom." So we went to the funeral home, and the funeral director, Mark, met us and took us upstairs with this endless array of casket options in every direction to pick one. And the smell of furniture polish was in the air. But before we could even look, Mark was jumping out of his skin with excitement. He said, "I've got the neatest thing. It's this cool new thing, magnets." And I thought, "You're a funeral director. You find joy where you can, man. You go. You go, Glen Coco." So said, "Show us what you got." And he said, "There are these gold medallions, right? And you just put them right on the casket for the service. And then after everything's over, you can take them home as a souvenir." "Okay, what do you got?" And he holds one up and it says, "Dad." And my mother melts. Oh, he loved being a father so much. Being a dad changed everything for him. We definitely want that. So Mark went and put it on the sample cassette. And he picked up a second one and it said, "Grandpa." And my mother gushed. Oh, he loved being a grandfather so much. He loved seeing your kids do things, and definitely that. So Mark just put it on the sample cassette. And he picked up the third one and it said, "Beloved husband." And my mom said, "That's a bit much. Let's not get married." And as we were standing there, laughing hysterically in basically casket IKEA, I thought, wow, maybe we can do this celebration thing after all. So the funeral comes, and my mother had said, "I want you to speak, and I want you to tap into the joy that was your father." He had a laugh that could be heard from a country mile. And so I got up and I told the story about when I was 13 years old, and I came home and I said, "Dad, the softball coach says I need to learn to be a catcher." And he said, "Great, grab your glove, let's go out back." So we met in the backyard, and he comes out, he starts doing full windmill. Now, he was a wrestler. If you've ever seen a wrestler try to throw a ball, this This is not something you see in the wild for a reason. But he wasn't too bad. He had a little heat on it. It was a little wild, and they were hitting the back of the garage, and it must have echoed through the whole house because my mother came flying out the back door, screaming, "What are you two doing?" And my dad says, "I'm teaching Deb to be a catcher." And my mother says, "Jim, you're denting the garage. I can see it from here." And he said, "Well, she's not a very good catcher." And right there, in the church, with this beautiful cathedral ceiling, it was filled with laughter. And I looked out and I saw the sea of faces from my childhood. And they all had big smiles, and I know they would remember the joy that my father always exuded. So we finish in the church, and we finish at the cemetery, and we take home our magnets. And a couple days later, I fly back out here and try to resume my life. But the sense of celebration is long gone, and it is replaced with darkness and sadness and emptiness. And if I'm honest, I felt like a kid who'd been thrown away. So, turn a few pages of the calendar, and I get a call from an old Iowa friend. And she says, "All right, you're going to call me crazy, but you've got to call this medium." And I said, "You're right, you are crazy." Right? Because I had no spirituality, I had no religion, but I would do about anything if it could be a good story. So I said, "Give me the number." So I call the medium, and she picks up and says, "Have you lost your father?" "Oh, coming on. Let's go." "Why, yes, I have." She said, "He's right here, and I've got some messages for you." "Let's go. Hit me." She says your kids are on a good path. Don't worry about that. Okay. He says, your mother's grieving. It's gonna take a while. Just be patient. Okay. And now he's putting on a maroon sweatshirt that says Harvard across the front. And I'm asking him, "Why are you showing me this?" And he said, "She knows." And I did. So I told her, actually I have a contract with Harvard Business School as one of their executive coaches. And she went, "That's nice. He wants to know why you haven't told your mother." I hadn't told anyone. I didn't post it anywhere. I kept it like a secret. Because when you grow up in the Midwest, you don't say anything out loud that sounds braggadocious. You just don't. It's bad form, it's considered tacky, and it invites bad karma. So I hadn't told anyone. And in that moment I realized there's no way the medium could have had any of this information. And I also realized that I had had the contract with Harvard for 1 year, and my father had been gone for 2. And in that moment, everything changed for me because I honestly believed I was talking to my father. And all the darkness that had settled in my heart was immediately expelled and replaced with love and light. I hadn't been thrown away. He'd been there the whole time, supporting me, loving me, guiding me. I just didn't recognize it. Just because I couldn't see him didn't mean he wasn't still looking out for me. I honestly felt like I had been found or never lost at all. My takeaway from all of this is that I know in my heart that love never dies.